Hey, it's Maximo. I'm at Melbourne Airport, Qantas Domestic Terminal, about to take a flight to Maroochydore in Queensland. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go. We set off for Tullamarine Airport early on a Monday morning in mid-March 2024. Our destination was Queensland. The traffic was light and we soon made our way to the long-term car park at Tullamarine Airport. There was plenty of parking in the long-term car park and we made our way through the cars to the bus pickup point and didn't wait long for the complimentary bus to drop us off at the Qantas terminal. The terminal wasn't very busy and it didn't take us long to drop our bags off and then make our way to the departure gate. And I must say there was a lot of construction going on in the terminal, especially around the Qantas departure gates. This trip was special. We were travelling with Joe's sister Pauline and brother-in-law Simon, who we haven't seen for a few years and flew out from London to see us. We kept walking through all the works and eventually arrived at our departure gate. We arrived there nice and early, so we had about an hour and a half to wait until our scheduled departure time. We were flying from Melbourne to the Sunshine Coast Airport, around about 1,800 kilometres northeast of Melbourne. The flight time was around 2 hours and 15 minutes. We had a bit of time to kill, so we all had a coffee and a bite to eat. And I had a bit of a wander through the departure area of the Qantas section of Melbourne Airport. It wasn't too long before we were boarding the plane and taxiing to take off for greener pastures. Whilst the terminal didn't look very busy, the plane was sure packed. There was only a couple of spare seats in the whole plane. The trip was quite short, the service is good, the conditions were quite calm and the trip was, well, mostly uneventful. It wasn't too long before we were flying in to the Sunshine Coast Airport. We landed at the airport, which is located about 10 miles north of Maroochydore. This airport is owned by the local council. There's about 7 or 8 boarding gates and 4 carousels. It's the 12th busiest airport in Australia, servicing almost 2 million passengers per year. The terminal was fairly busy when we landed, and shortly after we landed there was an announcement saying that the baggage would be delayed coming off the plane by at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes. This gave me the opportunity to have a bit of a wander around the terminal and look around. Simon and I also took the opportunity to go pick up the hire car and beat the rest of the hordes that were waiting for their suitcases. It was a reasonably small but quite a busy terminal, servicing the whole of the Sunshine Coast. After a little bit of time, our suitcases arrived. We got them into our car and proceeded to drive from the airport. It was still too early to check in. We were staying at Mooloolaba, so we drove about 30 kilometres and 30 minutes south to Caloundra. Caloundra offers spectacular views of the ocean and a creek that feeds into it. The weather was warm but quite changeable. We walked to the Aqua Restaurant, sat down and had a really nice meal. It's located right on the water, very close to everything. There was a couple of passing showers, but we finished lunch and headed for a little bit of a walk on the beach, Bullock Beach. It was very, very windy. The conditions in real life were slightly better than what it appears on screen. We walked along the beach for a bit and then made it back to the car just in time because a pretty big shower storm hit us. We jumped in the car and drove 20 minutes or 17 odd kilometres north to our final destination, which is Mooloolaba. We got to our hotel, the Mantra, at Mooloolaba Beach. The views from here were utterly spectacular. We saw an afternoon storm drift in. I'll do a separate review of this hotel in a later video. Joe and I had stayed at this hotel before a few years ago. We chose it again to, well, I guess impress our relatives, but also because of the stunning views, the great beach, the location, and the easy access to many cafes, bars, and restaurants. We had a little bit of a rest and freshen up at the hotel, and then went out to dinner. It was around about 6 p.m. and Queensland doesn't observe daylight saving, so in the middle of summer, quite often it's dark around about 6 or 6:30 p.m. at night, quite early compared to what we were used to. We had an expensive yet adequate, I guess you'd call, meal at an Italian restaurant, and then after dinner had a stroll along the beach at night. The beach is floodlit at night. It's quite eerie with the sound of the waves and the semi-darkness. We were quite tired, so we decided to walk back to our hotel. It was only about 9 p.m. and I was quite surprised at how quiet the street seemed in Mooloolaba. Also something that we weren't used to living in Melbourne. I'm not sure whether it's because of the lack of daylight savings, but I think Queenslanders have an early to bed and early rise way of life. Anyway, we made it back to the hotel in one piece and slept very, very soundly. I do hope you've liked this video. If so, please hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notify bell so you'll be notified of all my future videos. I'll be releasing videos from Queensland over the next few weeks, so please don't miss out on those. If you'd like to support my channel, consider buying me a coffee. Until our next Queensland adventure, you take care and bye now.